Indian Point is now operating with 2 expired reactors. They are not licensed. If any one of us decided to drive an automobile without a license, we'd get locked up.
We had a public demonstration outside of the plant, and a number of us, there were about 60 people at the event, and a number of us stretched that orange and black caution danger tape.
There's been a long history of arrests at this plant of citizens concerned about the lives of those who live along the Hudson River.
They will plead guilty, they will be given a slap on the wrist of time served, and they will go on to continue the fight to shut down the plant, the dangerous plant at Indian Point.
There is no need for replacement power for this aging plant. The Public Service Commission has said that enough power already exists in the system to close it down.
Exhausting all other measures, residents are left with no choice but to come forward in nonviolent direct action.
Indian Point had 7 major malfunctions in 2015 and has already had to close twice this year. Add to this danger the 42-inch diameter AIM natural gas pipeline being built 100 feet from critical structures at Indian Point, and the risk is multiplied.
We're now almost 40 years beyond Mr. Ryan's comments and beyond the 40-year lifespan for which these reactors were designed using 1960s technology.
Seven courageous NRC staff engineers needed to file a 2.206 petition to ask the supervisors to require our nation's nuclear fleet to repair a design flaw that renders the emergency electrical system which provides cooling to the reactor core useless. Just in the past 8 months, there have been a series of alarming incidents at this aging, leaking, and deteriorating facility, including a transformer explosion and oil spill, a water pump failure, electrical anomalies due to bird droppings, loss of power to several reactor control rods, and a huge release of tritium and other radioactive isotopes into the groundwater under the plant.
Now, this week marks the 5th anniversary of the ongoing nuclear disaster at Fukushima. Before March 11, 2011, Entergy and the rest of the nuclear industry had said for 25 years that a meltdown couldn't happen here. Now we are seeing a nuclear accident they have literally been unable to stop at a nuclear plant with the same basic design as Indian Point.
The Union of Concerned Scientists charged last week that the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has failed to learn lessons from the Fukushima meltdown. In its report, Preventing an American Fukushima, the group states that 5 years after the nuclear accident, the NRC has made insufficient progress in improving U.S. nuclear power safety while implementing half-baked reforms.
The fact of the matter is that Indian Point is rated the most at-risk plant and the most vulnerable plant to an earthquake-induced nuclear meltdown of any nuclear power plant in the country. There are over 1,500 tons of nuclear waste sitting on the banks of the Hudson River in overpacked fuel pools that are vulnerable to accident and to sabotage. The consequences of an accident at Indian Point are almost impossible to calculate. There are 20 million people who live within 50 miles. There's no way to evacuate either this community or any other community in that area. The consequences of an accident just in property losses are estimated at over $1 trillion. This is a danger not just to this community, not just to the New York City metro region, but to the entire nation. It is destroying the Hudson River every day. It uses 2 billion gallons of water to cool the reactors. It dumps the equivalent of a Hiroshima bomb's worth of heat into the river every 2 hours, and destroys more than 1 billion fish a year. But if that isn't bad enough, recent events have made it clear that Indian Point is systemically mismanaged due to cost-cutting and a dysfunctional safety culture that puts short-term profits ahead of nuclear safety. This has actually happened at every Entergy reactor in the Northeast, all of which Entergy is being forced to close down.
Since last month, exceedingly high levels of leaking tritium have been detected in monitoring wells at Indian Point. To be clear, the pipeline and nuclear safety experts have maintained that the internal analysis performed by Entergy and confirmed by the NRC used inaccurate information.
We no longer live in an age where energy can come at the expense of people, culture, and the environment.